Hey, how's it? This is the Foundation coming at you with my another top 10 favorite Cowboys of all time video. So let's get going. So at number 5, I've got Big E Erik Williams. Yep, I have a top 10. I have a top 5 offensive lineman in my all time favorite. Man, I just love Big E. You know, Erik Williams was just, bruh. I mean, he just brought, like our offensive line was good. You had the kitchen, Nate Newton, you had Steph Noski, one of the most underrated, centers of all time. You had Big Nasty, Kevin Gogan, and you had the quiet man, Gisick, and then you had Mark Tuane, just a solid guy and all that. But when Big E joined the offensive line, there was good. They were solid, but he brought the intimidation, that viciousness. I mean, well, Big Nasty was pretty, already, but then he just brought that intimidation and basically defenses was when he joined was just dreading. They didn't want no part of our offensive line. No defensive line did not want no part of our offensive line, and I felt that Big E was that guy that brought that attitude to them. You know, I mean, Reggie White, arguably one of maybe the best defensive lineman of all time. Arguably, easily top 5. Easily. There's no argument about that. But with him, as much as like a lot of people respected, respected him and all that, but there was no fear especially when he was going up against, Big E. You know, there was no fear whatsoever. There was a lot of respect, but then I was just like, "Brats, come on, Biggie got you. He's got your number. You ain't get it. You ain't gonna get it today." I mean, that's why my favorite play of him of all time is you know, is when I think it was in the division round. But anyway, you know, Reggie was trying to make a play, and Big E just just shoved the full 5 yards. And Emmett had a huge hole, and just ran wild, and I was like, ah, got him, and all that. So that was like, that was that's why, and one of my favorite images too. Was in the NFC, again going back to the NFC championship game. I think the quarter didn't end, and then he took the water bottle. He took the bottle and he kind of sprayed it all over himself, and he was kind of like, like blowing them off, like kind of doing that Triple H thing, was like giving off the spray and all that, and it was like this, that's like an awesome image of him and all that. Yeah, and you remember William Fuller from the Eagles as well too. I remember there was a play where he got a good solid hit. Like, it was like, oh man. I remember Pat Summerall was like, oh man, yeah. Troy Aikman stood tall in the pocket, but man, he got whacked for his troubles, and then right after that, Biggie was like, oh hell no, he didn't touch it, and he did not touch him the rest of the game. It got so bad. Um, I remember where the play ended. The play when the play ended, they were like 10, 15 yards behind the play, and he was blocking them all the way down there. And they took William Fuller out of the game because of that. In today's NFL, Eric Williams wouldn't be able to play because he did. I mean, people talk, like, hey, defensive linemen did it too, but this is where like this is like when you really started hearing like offensive linemen doing this to defensive linemen, like, like there was some defensive linemen used to do that club move to throw them off balance and all that. Well, Big E was like, oh no, like, I mean, he grew up a boxer, so he was like he'll do that punch. He'll do the punch. He'll headbutt guys. He'll do whatever it took like get under the skin. You know, intimidate, do whatever he could and all that. But he probably would get fined every game. He probably would have so much penalties against him. Would drive us all crazy in today's day and age of how the NFL is played. And that's the thing, like I miss, like you got characters like natural, organic characters, not like guys trying to promote themselves and all that. Big E was Big E, and and he stood out. Um, and then it's unfortunate that he got into the car crash because, I mean, even though he has some Pro Bowls and he was still one of the better guys out there, he just wasn't the same. And and if you like how Michael Irvin said in the Great Wall, that football life, he would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer because that's how much he meant to the team. Guarantee he'll be in the Ring of Honor. I would still love to see him in the Ring of Honor. And in talking about the football life, I was really hoping because you never really heard from Big E too much, but he was, I was hoping when they was showing the previews, I was like, ooh, I like really hear what Big E has to say and all that kind of stuff. His side of everything and all that. And then it's unfortunate that he wasn't. But yeah, I mean that's a hell of a guy. I mean what? That's why I just loved it because like every time you hear about the Cowboys is the glamorous team. Right, he brought a new type of viciousness that was just like, this gave us a whole new image of what the team looked like and all that. So yeah, at my top five, at number five, Biggie, Eric Williams. All right, mahalo for watching, Paniola boys, and like always, go Cowboys.